Hey, joyful wife. Thanks for joining me again. What if I told you the most humbling realization I've ever had about my marriage was also the most empowering realization I had about my marriage? I will be honest, what I'm about to share actually stung a little before it helped me to have revelation, but it's probably one of the most important things that I could have looked at to change my marriage. So here it is. In all of my marriage problems, there is one common denominator, and it's not your husband. It's you. It's me. I was the common denominator in all my marriage problems. Not just that, in all of my relationships, I am the common denominator. But before you click away and think that I'm blaming you for everything, just know that I'm not. Stay with me. This is actually the best news you could ever hear. Let me tell you about the moment this news hit me like a freight train. I was on the verge of failing at my second marriage. Yes, this is my second marriage. My first marriage had ended, and here I was having so many of the same problems, but with a completely different man, different husband, same arguments, different personalities, same frustration, different communication styles. Same emotional chaos. Then one day it hit me. The only thing that was the same in both marriages was me. I was the common denominator. Of course, that doesn't feel good. So my first reaction was like, it's not my fault. Like, look at all the things they did wrong. Look at how they hurt me. But then I realized something that changed everything for me. If I was the common denominator, that meant that I had way more power and influence than I thought I did. And here's why that's true. If your marriage problems were entirely your husband's fault, you'd be completely powerless to change them. You'd be stuck waiting for him to change, to grow up, to get better, or to become different. But if you're the common denominator, that means you have the power to influence the entire dynamic of the marriage. So let me explain further why being the common denominator is the best news you could ever hear. It means, for one, you're not the victim. You're not at the mercy of his moods, his decisions, or his growth timeline. You have free agency in your own marriage experience. For two, it also means you don't have to wait for him to change. You can start creating that transformation today, regardless of what he does or doesn't do. And three, you have a way more influence than you realize. Your thoughts, your emotions, your responses, your energy affect everything in your relationship. So think about it this way. In every marriage conflict, there are two people contributing to the dynamic. You can only control one of those people. Hello, it's you. But when you change how you show up, the entire dynamic changes. Here's what I discovered when I embraced being the common denominator. When I stop being so defensive and start being more curious, our conversations improve. When I stopped trying to control his responses and started managing my own, he felt safer with me. When I stopped making everything about his behavior and started focusing on my thoughts and reactions, I felt more peaceful, more joyful. When I stopped waiting for him to make me feel loved and started choosing to receive the love he was already showing, I felt more connected. The common denominator truth gave me back my power. So here's the difference between victim thinking and common denominator thinking. Victim thinking is, he never listens to me. It's powerless, and that depends on him to change. He doesn't care about my feelings. Powerless depends on his care. If he really loved me, he would. Powerless depends on his actions. Our marriage would be fine if he would just. Powerless. It depends on his improvement. And here's common denominator thinking. How can I communicate so he feels safe to listen? That's powerful. How can I influence this? How can I share my feelings in a way that he can receive it? Powerful. I can control this. How can I be more connected in our marriage? Powerful, because I can initiate this. What can I change about how I show up? Powerful, because this is completely within my control. So the victim thinking versus the common denominator thinking, it's the same marriage problems, but completely different level of power and possibility. When you embrace being the common denominator, you stop being the victim, of your circumstances and you start being the creator of your experience. So here's what becomes possible when you fully embrace your power as the common denominator. You stop waiting for him to make you happy and you start creating your own emotional stability. You stop trying to change him and start focusing on the changes you can actually make. You stop feeling powerless and you start feeling capable of influencing your marriage experience. You stop being reactive to his moods and you start responding from your own centered place. You stop arguing about who's right. You stop keeping score and you start focusing on what actually creates connection. And the most beautiful part, when you can change how you show up in your marriage, it gives him permission and space to show up differently too. So this week, I want you to start asking yourself the common denominator question. What can I control in this situation? Not what should he do differently, but what can I do differently? Not how can I get him to change, but how can I show up better? Not why doesn't he understand me, but how can I communicate more clearly? This isn't about taking responsibility for his behaviors. This is about taking responsibility for your responses, your thoughts, your emotion, your energy. So whether you like it or not, you're the common denominator in your marriage and all of your relationships. You can even look around to see if there's patterns of things that you notice, like, oh my gosh, I'm the same way in this relationship too. And really knowing that is the most empowering truth you can embrace because you have more power to transform your relationship than you might have ever imagined. So stop waiting for him to change and start using the incredible influence you already have. Let me just tell you, your marriage transformation, it starts with you.